Hi everyone, thanks for watching. You can support our work on our website ageoftruth.tv. And please like our videos, subscribe to our channels on YouTube, BitChute and Brighteon. And remember to hit the bell for notifications. And follow us on Instagram and Facebook. To be sure not to miss any of our shows, you can sign up for our newsletter on our website ageoftruth.tv. Hi Henry, can you hear me?
I can hear you and I can see you. You're a lot younger than I expected.
I'm Lauge. We've been writing together and I've been setting up the interview with you.
But I'm glad to appear. How old are you? You look about 22.
Oh, thank you so much. Well, I'm in the 30s. So
you're in your 30s.
Yeah.
Good for you. You must live a healthy life and abstain from sex.
Well,
I'm just kidding, actually.
To have you on here. It really is, Henry. And thank you so much for coming on and doing the interview with us. We really appreciate it. We've been looking forward to it.
Okay.
Well, I think we are ready. I will turn on the camera and get the line through to the studio with Lucas Alexander.
Hello and welcome to this edition of Age of Truth TV. I'm Lucas Alexander in Copenhagen, Denmark. It's the 11th of April 2024, and our special guest today is a legendary figure within alternative media circles. He's a Canadian author, investigative journalist and columnist, a truth and conspiracy researcher, and a dot connector. He became widely known already as a child with his popular and successful newspaper column and book, Ask Henry, in the 1960s. He invented the board game Scruples, and he's of course known for his informative and controversial articles on henrymakow.com. It is a great thrill and a pleasure to welcome him here on the show, Henry MAKOW. Good evening from Copenhagen, Denmark, and welcome to all of our viewers on Age of Truth TV. Please like our videos, subscribe to our channel, and hit the bell for notifications. We have a fascinating and explosive episode for you today with a really fantastic and sensational gentleman. I've been looking forward to having him on the show. I've known of his work for years, but we've never had him with us before, so it's really exciting. And without further ado, let's go to Mexico City and meet Dr. Henry MAKOW. Thank you so much, Henry. I'm thrilled to have you with me here today.
Well, I'm thrilled to be here.
Before we go into a lot of details about current topics and all of the things you've been talking about for many years and writing on your website, henrymakow.com, please tell the audience a little bit about your fascinating background as a columnist since you were a child and what you did throughout your career.
Well, my website is like the third act in my life. The first act was a advice to parents column when I was 12 years old. The second act was inventing the game Scruples, which sold 10 million copies, which I did in 1984. And then this website and the four books based on it are my third act. And basically, I'm 74 years old. I'm a Canadian. I'm an ethnic Jew, but I I don't believe in the Jewish religion. I believe the Jewish religion is basically a satanic cult masquerading as religion. And it's not a religion at all. But I'm an ethnic Jew, and I feel I represent assimilated Jews, Jews who don't want any part of the Jewish supremacist agenda. And I think it's very important that people realize that this is the agenda of organized Jewry. It's not the agenda of assimilated Jews like myself. And so I feel the need to speak up, lest assimilated Jews are blamed for the absolutely crazy agenda of organized Jewry. And the big principle I want to start off with is it's all very simple. They try to obscure it, obfuscate it, but the fact is that the leitmotif of organized Jewry is basically to exploit and enslave the Goyim. And that's basically the agenda behind Agenda 2030 and various pandemics we've seen. And people have to realize that they don't realize this agenda because organized Jewry controls the media. And we've been brainwashed and trained to think that the media is telling us the truth. In fact, it's obscuring the truth.
And actually, you've had your website longer than most people in the alternative media, because as far as I know, you started already in the year 2000. That was the early beginning, the early days of the internet. And before we get into all of these controversial things you're already saying here, let me just go back to your early beginning. That's so amazing. It seems like you were kind of a boy genius or something, writing articles in many syndicated newspapers already as a 12-year-old boy. And you wrote a book as well. I mean, how did that even come about? How did that happen?
It's just it was an advice to parents column. I wrote it between the ages of 11 and 13, and it was in 40 papers, including some very big newspapers like the Los Angeles Times and the Boston Globe and the Miami News. And it was essentially the idea was that a child supposedly would give parents better advice on child rearing. And I was on the Jack Parr show. I was in Life magazine. Like I like to say I have a great future behind me. Or my other line was like Egypt and Greece, I peaked too early.
That's incredible. I mean, as a 12-year-old, and then I mean, yeah, you really had a life upside down in that way. And also, people can see, and I want to show a little clip from that as well on this show. You as a 12-year-old appearing on that legendary game show, What's My Line, with the actress Arlene Francis, actor Tony Randall, Random House publisher Bennett Cerf, and that very controversial and inspirational columnist Dorothy Kilgallen. I mean, that is quite an extraordinary thing to see that. Let's just watch a little clip of that.
Mr. MAKOW, where are you from?
Ottawa, Canada.
Ottawa, Canada. How nice it is to have somebody from our neighbors come down and see us. May I present our panel, Mr. MAKOW?
You do, Mr. MAKOW.
And will you join me over here, please, Henry? Are you familiar with our scorekeeping system?
Yes.
In that event, we'll let the audience in the theater and the audience at home know exactly what your line is. All right. Panel, Mr. MAKOW is salaried, deals in a service, and we'll begin the general questioning with Dorothy Kilgallen.
Mr. MAKOW, are you in any way connected with the performing arts? No.
1 down and 9 to go, Mr. Wren.
Is writing involved in your job?
Yes.
He could ask if a college degree was necessary to what he does.
Is writing the integral part of your job?
Repeat that, please.
Is writing the principal part of your job?
Yeah. Guess so.
You're beginning to smile with your yeses now.
That's right. 2 down and 8 to go. Marty, what kind of a column?
We're going to rule out science fiction then from Mr. MAKOW, right?
Mhm.
He writes a column, it's not on sports, it's not on space or science fiction. If he writes a gossip column, he started much too young. Can't be that.
Do you think that children today in Canada and the United States are kind enough to their parents?
Yes, I think so.
Do you think they're giving them a square deal?
Oh, parents are okay. The kids will be okay, too.
Well, that answers Bennett.
That's so amazing to see you there. It's absolutely amazing. And also at the end, when people go and watch that whole episode, they can see when you greet the panel at the end, you stop in front of Dorothy Kilgallen and talk to her. And she died under very mysterious and suspicious circumstances, probably
Well, she
because
was murdered.
she was murdered, right? Because she knew too much about the JFK assassination. But I mean, what are your memories of this experience as a 12-year-old and also talking to Kilgallen?
Look, I was a pretty arrogant and cocky 12-year-old. Um, I could see that I was being told to respect my elders, but I could see what a mess they'd made of the world. So I was pretty skeptical. In fact, my whole life is the spring board from it was reading The Rise and Fall of the Third Reich. I was a 10-year-old Jewish boy. My parents were Holocaust survivors. They weren't in camps, but they passed as Christians. And so naturally I was being told to respect my elders, but I could see that they had totally made a mess out of the world. And my whole life actually has been dedicated to figuring out, it's basically true of my whole generation, people born around 1950. We really wanted to save the world. That was the credo of my generation. Phil Oakes and the folk music in the early 60s and all of that. And so my whole life has been dedicated to try to figure out what's going on and why it's such a mess and why there's so much suffering from war and depression and so on. And I feel I've just discovered the reason. And I feel like my mission, I'm living out my mission.
But you couldn't have known about all of these controversial topics back then. There were no knowledge about it. And I'm just thinking of, what happened in your life? Did your life take a dramatic turn? Being discovered, being on What's My Line and Jack Parr's show and all of these things? And
No,
writing
none
a
of that.
book?
I didn't figure out what was going on until the year 2000 when I was about 50, when I started to question feminism. I was a feminist. I was actually a Zionist, but I had an instinctive desire to rule my own roost. Basically, I feel men were designed to protect and provide for women and children, and women were designed to have children and look after them and to nurture their husbands and their children. And I had this instinctive desire to rule my own roost. In other words, be with a woman who accepted my leadership. And that's when I began to challenge feminism. And that's when I got into a lot of trouble, got kicked out of the university for that reason. But I developed a whole analysis of heterosexuality, which I outline in my book, Cruel Hoax. And heterosexuality is based on the exchange of female power for male power, expressed as love. Women don't really want power. They want love, and men want power. So basically, women give men power. Men give those women love. It's exchange of love, power for love.
Well, I can tell you, Henry, in this country where we are, in Denmark, in Scandinavia, this is the second most feminist country in the world after Sweden, which is our neighbors actually. And a lot of women in this country really want a lot of power. That is kind of what we are hearing and seeing all the time. We also have the second female prime minister. A lot of females are, women are on top posts, actually. So we are seeing that a lot in this country, I'm telling you.
Well, I believe people whether should be judged on the basis of their merit, their experience, their ability, not on the basis of their gender or color. So, it doesn't matter. I don't mind. I mean, I'm happy to see competent women in charge. The trouble is, a great many of these women are not competent. They're just basically proxies for the banking cartel. And that's one of the things we have to realize is we gave our national credit cards to people who want to destroy us. And that's the banking cartel, the world banking cartel. And they have our national credit card. And during the pandemic, we saw how everyone is ruled by money, and they control money. And all of a sudden, for 2 years, and still now, people had no principles, no conscience, no moral compass. They basically revealed themselves to be the kind of prostitutes that they really are under the surface. That's sad, but that's what happens when you give. Like if I gave my worst enemy my banking information, can you imagine where I would be? I mean, he used this information to bankrupt me, and that's what they're doing. Look around. Look at the United States national debt. Look at how they're basically maxing out these credit cards, the national credit cards. They're maxing it out, forgiving student loans, giving grants to migrants, having stupid, unnecessary wars like in Ukraine and financing Ukraine. And that money's all going up in smoke. So basically, they're maxing out the national credit card, and there's going to be some kind of financial crisis. Many people believe that's why gold is now at new highs.
Well, they want to implement the social credit system and have, like in China, and have a system like in China. Isn't that basically what these New World Order orchestrators want?
You're absolutely right. Now, one other important point that I make, and as far as I know, nobody else is making, and that is all wars are contrived. Especially the major wars, they're all contrived. They're Freemasons on both sides. Putin's a Freemason. The American neocons, they're all Freemasons. And these wars are contrived to kill the Goyim. And the same apply, and to kill assimilated Jews. And so if you look at the Israeli-Gaza conflict, Iran, Hamas, Hezbollah, they're all Freemasons. Benjamin Netanyahu and his cabinet, they're all Freemasons. These wars are, Hitler was a Freemason, although he didn't admit it. All these wars, Churchill was a Freemason. Roosevelt was a Freemason. These wars are all contrived to basically kill the Goyim and kill the assimilated Jews who aren't part of the program. And I'm an assimilated Jew, and that's why I speak up. My grandparents died in the Holocaust. They were shot by the Germans, by the Nazis. My parents would have been killed had they not been able to pass as Christians. I mean, that's my heritage. That's that's what I was born with. My parents barely survived, and that's been my life work to figure out what the hell's going on.
Did your parents come from Poland?
Yes, they were both Polish Jews.
Uh-huh. So in the Second World War, you just mentioned Hitler as a Freemason, but supposedly he was also a Rothschild, an illegitimate Rothschild, because his grandmother worked for that Rothschild that was in Vienna.
I believe that's true, because there were references made by his sister saying, "You really angered our grandfather." Plus, Hitler's mother was getting money from a Jewish benefactor who was probably an intermediary.
So this whole orchestration, and we see it today as well, and we saw it during the first World War and the Second World War and the Cold War and all of that. It is basically the top elitists, also known as the Illuminati, that are orchestrating and implementing the New World Order through the Hegelian dialectic, divide and conquer, splitting, and these wars and conflicts and all of that. So they do have one collected goal, a mutual goal, and that is to control humanity in various ways. So when you talk about being an assimilated Jew and talking against what is happening in Israel, you're talking basically about Zionism, right?
Yeah, well, the banking cartel is they're Freemasons, and they basically organize politics so that they've got Freemasons on the right who are Zionists and Freemasons on the left who are communists. And so it's a charade. And the Freemasons on the right, it's mind-boggling. I can't find a nationalist and a traditionalist and a conservative leader who isn't pro-Zionist. In other words, they're so well organized that if you're a conservative, you're going to be pro-Zionist, and if you're anti-Zionist, you're going to be a communist, and you're going to be left. So basically, they've got this charade going between the left and the right. And now Biden, he's actually a left communist, but I mean, they all answer to the Jewish banking cartel, so they can wear both hats. They switch back and forth, decide who's going to win the war. So in the Second World War, they controlled Hitler, and they basically decided the whole point of the Second World War was to destroy Germany and to have an Holocaust in order to justify the establishment of Israel, brainwash Jews into thinking that they need a state, when in fact it's really the Danes, the Germans, the English, and the French, and the Russians who need a national homeland, because they're all controlled by the Jewish banking cartel.
And you're talking about all of these people actually working for the same thing, but you're not talking against the ordinary Jew, obviously, being a Jew yourself. You're talking about the top elitists. You call them Freemasons, but I mean, there are different levels of that as well. There's a lot of Freemasons that do not comply to this whole thing or know about it, but it's more the Illuminati top level or you're talking about, right?
Yeah, Freemasonry is really based on Judaism, a Kabbalist Judaism, and most Jews don't really know the true Jewish agenda, which is to enslave and dispossess mankind. That's the true Jewish agenda. That's the real reason for anti-Semitism. And most Jews are dupes. They've been brainwashed to think that the whole world hates them for no reason, and therefore they have to rally behind Zionists.
So that was the reason why they created the First and especially the Second World War then, or what?
That was one of the major reasons, and another was to destroy Germany and German nationalism, and also to, murder. I think they murdered something like 6 million anti-Semites, Nazis. They murdered 6 million Nazis in the Second World War. You never hear that. But they also murdered something like 20 million Russians. All these people were goyim. But then they switched everyone's attention to the fact that God knows how many, 2 to 4, I don't know, million Jews died. And so everyone thinks the Second World War was a Jewish Holocaust, when in fact it was a Gentile Holocaust.
A lot of people in these alternative truth circles are beginning to speculate or talk about whether or not I'm not talking about Holocaust deniers, but I'm talking about those that say that the figures and the numbers do not add up, that they didn't maybe kill as many, but they said they did, because it would be difficult not to.
Zionists who basically organized and orchestrated the Jewish Holocaust. Jews, Zionist Jews, funded the Holocaust, funded the Nazis.
Henry, what do you consider when we go to this? I mean, 2024 now, and so much has happened, not only just in the last 4 years, but in the last 20 years, let's say, since 9/11, but also before that. But what do you consider to be the greatest problem that we're facing right now in 2024?
Well, we're on the cusp of a world war. That's the greatest problem. And I don't know if you're aware of it, but I'm constantly posting, and I posted it again today on my website, a quotation from Albert Pike, which so go to my website, henrymakow.com, MAKOW, and you'll see this quote by Albert Pike, who is a Grand Mason, who basically, in a letter to Giuseppe Mazzini, said, we're going to have 3 world wars, and in the 3rd World War, our agents among the Zionists, like Netanyahu, and our agents among the Islamists, like the leader of Islam, of Iran. You know, Iran is controlled by Freemasons. Israel is controlled by Freemasons. This whole fight is a charade. In fact, Israel was started in order to precipitate this 3rd World War, in order to kill a lot of people. And that was the whole purpose. And it's coming down. Yes, so that's the main problem. We're on the cusp of a world war unless we step back.
But do you think it's going to be a world war like the first and the second? A lot of people say it might be like a technocratic, technological AI type of cyber world war, not necessarily physical with tanks and military and all of that. But what do you think?
No, I think you just have to look at Ukraine. I think that's what's going down. That's what's going to go down in the Middle East. That could easily go down in China, in Taiwan, although, you know, China, Russia, the United States are all controlled by the same people. So Iran, Israel, they're all controlled by the same people. So in my opinion, what we're seeing is a charade. But in my opinion, the goal of this charade is depopulation. They haven't made a secret that depopulation is what they're all about.
But why do you think they want to depopulate the world? Because they say we're too many.
It's just greed. You know, they've got 90% of the wealth. They want the last 10. Also, they hate the people who aren't Satanists. We're infidels because we don't worship Satan. So that's their attitude. Anyone who doesn't worship their God, who is Satan, although they don't want to admit it, must be killed. I mean, look at what Israel did to Gaza. It's disgraceful. Israel will be a pariah among nations forever. Now, why would they go to that extreme? Because this is a lead up to something even worse. I mean, why would Israel basically spoil their monopoly on victimhood, spoil the Jewish monopoly on morality and victimhood and all that? I mean, it's gone forever. And I don't have I want to be wrong naturally. I want to be 100% wrong. I'd love to be wrong about everything I've ever said. But unfortunately, we're basically 90%. We're in the 8th or 9th inning. The world has been pretty well taken over because we gave control over money to people who think we're animals and should die. I mean, we're Palestinians in their eyes. I mean, look what they did to us during the pandemic. I mean, just look what they did to us, but we want to forget it. Forgive and forget. But they pretty well took the mask off and made it very clear. Those ridiculous pictures of Klaus Schwab in his Star Wars, Star Trek outfit, and this is a great opportunity to build, to reset and build back better. That is a Kabbalist philosophy. It's called creative destruction. I have another essay on that, the Jewish plot to destroy Christian civilization, in which they admit that they want to destroy, they admit it, that it's called creative destruction. They have to destroy the old order. The old order is the society which we were brought up in, societies that nurtured us and gave us a great deal of resources and freedom to live our lives as we want. That's the old order. They want to destroy that and build back better. But build back better is 666. And basically, they want to establish a satanic dispensation. And people have to understand that Satanism is very simple to understand. I mean, they try to obfuscate its meaning with all kinds of mysticism and bullshit. Satanism is under Satanism, good is evil. Evil is good. Beautiful is ugly. Ugly is beautiful. Healthy is sick. Sick is healthy. And natural is unnatural. Unnatural is natural. And as you see, they're trying to get rid of a gender. And they're trying to, think that gender is whatever you identify with. This is all Satanism. It's all designed to basically shred the social fabric that was established under the Christian dispensation. The difference between the Christian and the Jewish dispensation is the Christian dispensation is we all have a spark of divinity in us, and it is our purpose in life to fulfill God's mission for each of us, whatever it happens to be. My mission is truth, but someone else's mission might be love, a mother looking after her babies. That may be her mission. God is perfection. Jesus said, "Be ye therefore perfect as your Father who is in heaven is perfect." God is a spirit. God is consciousness. God is perfection, perfect truth, perfect justice, beauty, love, bliss. God, and a lot of people in their after-death experiences, they're actually having these experiences of God. They're there.
When you mention God, do you talk about it from a biblical point of view? Do you believe that God is like a male figure sitting on a cloud with a beard, or is it a force, a source?
They invented that nonsense in order to discredit God. Jesus is very clear that God is a spirit. A spirit, that, in other words, perfection. Our love of God is our love of perfection. Justice. Don't we all love justice? Don't we all love beauty? Don't we all love truth? We are all in love with God, but because they've messed up our perception of what God is, they managed to divert us.
I think it's probably because a lot of people are a little bit hesitant when they hear that word God, unless they devote themselves to a specific religion or Christianity in its various forms. It's the all-powerful creator force.
Yeah, God is the intelligence behind the universe, and religion is basically getting in tune with that intelligence and obeying it. And that's my religion. And it's so simple, and I won't make a dime from it, will I?
So
yeah, because people are going to say, well, that took you 2 minutes. I'm not going to give you any money. I don't want any money. I've got more money than I need.
Yeah, you invented the game Scruples. I mean,
I didn't make my money from that. I actually blew all that money, but I've made money I've made money other ways.
But can I
I
just ask
inherited
you?
money from my dad.
Oh, did you? All right. I mean, can I just ask you, because I have a lot of questions about everything you just said. But I mean, can I just say, what did you do between being the young Ask Henry until you did your website?
Good question. I got a PhD in English because I I I I was dedicated to finding out truth, right? So I but I didn't know what the truth was. I mean, I'm a natural born writer and editor. That's practically the only thing I can do. And but I didn't know what the truth was. So I figured, well, I'll just go to university and find out what everyone else thinks is true, right? So I spent 10 years getting a PhD and reading, the great thinkers in English literature anyway. And then I realized that the whole education system is fucked. It's, look at my website, henrymakow.com. There's an article in the left-hand column called how university betrays students. I mean, it's basically Masonic brainwashing. That mortar board is a Masonic that you get on graduation. It's a Masonic symbol, a mortar board, for Freemasonry. And so our whole society is, and it's important to understand that our whole Western society, especially, is satanically possessed. It's focused on sex and money, or money and sex, depending on your priorities. And those,
But I mean, but
that's
Henry, isn't that kind of also a natural thing? I mean, when you were younger, and you were living and growing up during the hippie days, did you like not did you not have any fun or what?
oh, I was a product of I'm a product of this society, and I've been satanically possessed all my life. In fact, I have an article on my site called, you could Google it. It's called "I Was Born into a Satanic Cult." Just if you want to find my articles, go to Google, or Bing is better actually. And it's just go Henry Makow. I was born into a satanic cult, or Henry Makow, any topic you want, feminism or whatever. They'll come up more usually on Bing, because Google is getting more restrictive and shadow banning me.
Yeah, absolutely. Like it does to all of us. But I mean, so you were having a bit of fun, and I guess that's part of life. Isn't it part of being a human being and manifesting in this form when we're here
Yeah,
in the
yeah, you're
pretty
right.
limited
You're
time
right. We just
span?
have to realize that that's our ego. The way I see humanity is, we are we are basically angels put in the bodies of apes. And this infatuation with sex and money is an ape thing. We're stuck in this body of apes, so I don't personally believe in denying it. I was able to overcome my or manage my sex drive, not by becoming a monk, but by actually, I'd look at porn, and I'd have relationships, and I've been virtually married 4 times. So I have, I mean, I found the best way to get over sex and money is to get plenty of it, because
Well, there you have it.
because because you realize that it's not what you really want or need. People have most people, a lot of people have got 50 or 100 times more money than they need. In fact, the whole problem with inflation is there's too much money out there. I mean, I watch these YouTube shorts, and a guy stops people in the street and says, "How much money do you have?" And there's just young people, and they've got 100, 200, $300,000. And you ask one girl, "Well, how did you make that kind of money?" Selling her used, or her panties online, after used panties. I mean, people are getting very rich in the weirdest ways. A lot of women are probably just becoming permanent mistresses to rich men. I mean, men are so obsessed with sex.
But that has always happened, Henry. I mean, it's always been like that in one way or the other, right?
Yeah, I'm
But I
not
mean,
denying.
don't you think? I mean, you're talking a lot about feminism and on all of this imbalance, which we really do have today. There is an imbalance in terms of gender and position, and especially with the male part of the population. But don't you think there's a good thing to this whole? Let's say that it's become more balanced now, and women are out there. It's equal pay. We're equal in more in better terms so that the balance is better. Isn't that a good thing also? And
No,
and also, let me just say this, that men are now, more open to expressing their emotional, softer side.
um, I would never stand in the way of any person um, doing whatever they think they need to do in order to fulfill themselves. In other words, if a woman wants to be a brain surgeon, God bless her. I mean, I'm not the kind of person who tells people what to do. I just tell people what I think, you know, and people can make up their own minds. I really believe in individual freedom. But the fact is that 80% of women, I would estimate, are best suited to be wives and mothers. And I think, they have periods every month. They've got these feeding sacks right up there on their chest. They're designed to have children. Any society that believes in its future would believe in families, in supporting families, and in having children. Otherwise, and in raising these children to be wholesome, intelligent, constructive members of society. But the people in charge, they don't want us to have children. They're into depopulation. They're into dispossession. They're into enslavement. And that's what feminism is really all about. My mother in 1952, she had a business. She was importing, this is 1952, she was importing watch straps from Switzerland, where I was born, and where she met my father in Switzerland. They were displaced persons after the war. And that's where I was born in 1949. And as I said, she imported watch straps and sold them all over Eastern Ontario and Western Quebec. She had a thriving business. It was called Canada Good Supply. And this is 1952. So, I mean, this notion that women are so oppressed, it's not true. Women in the 30s and 40s, they could do anything they want, but it wasn't affirmative action. It was actual merit. And I'm all for people doing things on the basis of merit, not the gender, not the color of their skin.
So was the feminist movement in the 60s orchestrated by the same top elite group of people that are behind the orchestration and implementation of the New World Order?
Feminism, literally was born out of the Communist Party of the United States in the 40s and the 50s. I have a couple of articles on my website which shows it. I mean, Betty Friedan was a Communist Party agent. Uh, uh, Gloria Steinem was working for the CIA, which is virtually working for the central banking cartel. So, I mean, feminism is communism. The whole purpose of feminism is the purpose of communism, which is to destroy marriage in the traditional society, the traditional family. That's the purpose of feminism. People are so stupid that they trust the media, they trust the government, they trust the influencers. They're telling them what to do. I mean, the fact is that the Masonic Jewish banking cartel controls virtually all the mainstream media. They control something like Teen Vogue, which encourages women to just be promiscuous, explore Satanism. I mean, there's no question that Satanism, well, I don't have to tell you this. Satanism is a powerful force in our society, and it's getting more powerful. And Satanism, as I described, is uh, is dedicated to turning our societies upside down, and we can see it happening. I mean,
But even though they're trying to turn everything upside down, which they do in all aspects of our lives, actually, don't you think that feminism, or not feminism, but I mean what it created a better balance maybe for women to express their talent and their personality and also their sexuality, which is pretty expressive actually, and they had been holding back
well,
for
I would
years.
argue they didn't need feminism to do any of that. That's what I'd argue. I mean, feminism is they has a hidden agenda. Communism has a hidden agenda. I mean, they'll always give you some plausible reason for what they're doing, but there's always a hidden agenda. Like the interviews that this guy Russo did with Nicholas Rockefeller. Did you ever see those?
Yes, yes,
Russo,
of course. I saw it
RUSSO.
with Aaron Russo, who was
Aaron
actually
Russo,
killed
right.
not long after.
Well, he died of cancer. Who knows how? In any case, he said, like, we want children out of the home so we can indoctrinate them. We want women working so we can tax them. I mean, we've got this crazy notion that the people that run society have a benign interest in us. They don't. They're out to screw us.
So what you're saying is that in the past, women could actually, if they had the right possibilities, the best possibilities, they could climb to the top. I mean, we just talked about some Dorothy Kilgallen, for example, that you met.
Yeah,
I
or
mean, she was a
Margaret
very,
Thatcher,
very
or
prolific and famous legendary figure and very successful during her time, huh?
the only reason they're promoting women is basically they're promoting their proxies, their agents, people who will do what they're told. Those are the women that get promoted. They're not promoting women or blacks on the basis of merit. I'm all for that. I'm all for promoting blacks and women on the basis of merit. I would go to war under a woman general if I respected her. But that's not what this is about. These people are all agents. They're Illuminati agents, and they're out there to basically fulfill Illuminati goals, which are to enslave and dispossess. And that seems to be coming down the tube. Like, everyone is afraid that they're going to somehow there's going to be some kind of financial crisis, which will be used as an excuse to bring in these CBDs, central bank digital currencies, and that's what people are afraid of, because these people, you got to understand their mentality. They want it all because they're spiritually depraved. They don't realize that happiness, the kingdom of heaven, is within. You don't need money to be
But do
happy.
you think, like a lot of people in this field, talk about them worshiping all these top elitist Illuminati bloodline families, worshiping Satan and doing these satanic rituals and sacrifices and children involved and mind-controlled MK Ultra slaves and all that? Do you think they do that because they can evoke a spirit, a satanic spirit that actually manifests, or that these, let's say, dark demonic archon entities are feeding on the human angst, anxiety, fear, hatred, and all of that, and that's why they create and orchestrate all of these conflicts?
Yeah, well, that's very insightful and true. But I I I believe that Satanism is designed to destroy its adherents. In other words, Satanism is designed to destroy Satanists, and it's designed to destroy satanic societies. And that's what we're seeing. Our society is being destroyed because it is creative destruction. They figure once they've destroyed everything, they can build everything. They can build a new world in their own image, which basically is a world which caters to them and no one else.
So you're actually saying that they're self-destructive, but I mean that's
Yes, they're
that's not what they
self-destructive.
think, huh?
Oh, I don't know if they realize they're self-destructive, but they should, because I think they're all in a lot of suffering.
A lot of people say that these top politicians and also celebrities in Hollywood and many places that they actually have to go into these dark circles and perform some of these rituals. Do you know anything about that?
Yeah, it seems to be some kind of a test, an initiation. So you're probably aware of the testimony of Bernard Rollin, the Dutch banker. I mean,
Ronald Bernard. Yeah.
they wanted him to witness a sacrifice of a child, and he couldn't do it. So obviously he probably was not inducted into the cult. But in a more general way, humanity has all been inducted into this cult. And it's a powerful cult. And its power is seen in the power of the World Health Organization, and how they were able to lock down virtually the whole world. And it was all the same template, the same plastic shields, the same social distancing, the same masks worldwide. It shows us that we already have a world government in place.
And we
Now, the
probably
only
had that
reason,
for a long time, huh?
exactly.
Why do they want to continue? They talk about Agenda 2030, or actually Agenda 21 for the 21st century. And then the next step, or the first step, is 2030 and then 2050. And they want to do that, implement all of that through, well, what we saw in the last 4 years and more of that. And also climate change.
Yeah, all these notions they've got. Well, first of all, I want to say the reason they had to give up the narrative is because of Russia. I mean, as Russia and China are basically saying, we're not going to be controlled by Rothschild and the Rothschild banking cartel and its proxies. They keep saying we want a multipolar world. Russia's taking a very strong stand, as you know, against homosexuality, which is, the promotion of homosexuality is also designed to undermine the family and to depopulate.
But one
That's the
thing is
reason.
to promote it. Another thing is that those people who are homosexuals, that's part of their nature. You can't change that, just as you can't change your nature.
Well, that's not, in my opinion, that's not true, or they wouldn't be propagandizing children in public schools. There's a very strong encouragement of people to change their children, to change their gender, where happiness comes from being more masculine and being more feminine, because femininity is basically being pleasing to men, and women want to be pleasing to men because they want men to love them. Women are all about love. They need to be loved.
Not all women are all about love, but many are. But so are men, I guess. But I guess femininity is not just about pleasing men. I think a lot of people will find you very controversial saying that.
Well, damn it, for 95% of human history, femininity was about pleasing men. And just because these people have had a brainwave, because they're essentially communist and satanic, they can throw a wrench into that, but they're not going to be happy. No 50 or 50-year-old woman who's single, or 45-year-old woman, 90% of them are not happy. They want to be married. Just go on YouTube. Women are in great pain now because of feminism, because they missed their chance. Nature doesn't give people rain checks. Women have got to make their deal when they're irresistible to men, and that's between the ages of roughly 18 and 30. And women who are 40 or 50, I mean, don't hate me for just observing what nature is doing.
It is certainly a single culture that we're living in now, and they're promoting that. But I mean, and that's and you're talking about heterosexuality. You said that it was forbidden in Russia to be homosexual, but that's totally different. If some people that are homosexual is one thing, but to promote it to children is another thing. It's we have to separate those two things, right? Some people that's their nature, and then the children, all of that, they should not be indoctrinated, right?
I don't care, if someone wants to be a homosexual and love men, that's, like I said, I'm not going to stand in anyone's way. If that's what they think will make them happy, do it and find out. But the undermining of heterosexuality is part of the satanic and communist agenda.
I mean, what do you think is the misconception of feminism? I mean, which is now promoted to be a good thing, but the bad thing is that it will create an imbalance today, and men are now very weakened by this, right? I mean, it's like men have no say. But what are your thoughts on the whole Me Too movement that happened a few years ago?
It's actually, I think it was a good thing. I think people like Harvey Weinstein and Louis C.K. were out of line. I mean, they're basically as a casting couch thing. It's been going on for 100 years, as long as Hollywood, right? Actresses have always had to prostitute themselves. Well, I'm glad that they stopped that. I'm glad, but those women who complained, their careers were over. That's too bad. But I'm glad they complained, and I'm glad that that was stopped. And there's a whole bunch of celebrities, most of them Jewish, who lost their careers, like that guy Rose. I forget his name.
Charlie Rose.
Charlie Rose. His career ended. A lot. The head of CBS, his career ended. They're all Jews because Jewish men have a problem with sex. They're oversexed. I don't know why. I think that's because Kabbalism is actually a sex cult, sex and death. It's a sex cult. And actually Jews are taught that you find union with God in orgasm, and that belief Jews have spread to society as a whole, so that the sex act is actually some kind of religious what's the word, religious ceremony. There's a word for it anyway. All my life, I thought sex was a religious act. I thought, it wasn't until I got plenty of sex that I realized that there's nothing religious about sex. But
Well, it
people
depends on
think,
how you perform it, Henry, I guess. I mean, isn't that the most beautiful thing between two people?
well, I'm talking about sex as contrasted to sex being expression of love. That's a totally different thing. But that's not what's being encouraged today. I think you agree. Sex is being encouraged for its own sake as an end in itself. And people actually believe that sex is the highest experience that life has to offer. And I believed that until I was roughly 50 or even later. So it's a sex cult. I mean, unless sex is joined with a connection with another human being's, it's basically masturbating.
Well, I think that's a thing that they always said was a bad thing in the old days. But I mean, that's a natural part of life too, huh?
Yeah, well, I think masturbation is a great way to take the pressure off. I mean, I used to do it when I was younger. I don't need to do it anymore. I'm happily married.
Great.
I've been married more than 20 years,
Yeah. So and you were married 4 times before, you said?
3 times.
3 times. Wow. So this is the lucky one, the good marriage or what?
Yeah, because I married an old-fashioned woman, although she's a web developer, so I basically married tech support.
Great. Well, that's a good asset for you on top of everything with your website.
Exactly. Plus, she's got a master's degree, and she has a career of her own and has her own money, and because
So
even though,
basically, Henry, you married a feminist, a strong woman.
well, the trouble is women these days have got this feminist thing, going on in their head like a bunch of buzzing bees, but they're in their heart they want a man that will basically provide constructive leadership and loving leadership, and they want to belong to a man, and I want my wife to feel like she belongs to me, and I will do everything I can to make her happy that she belongs to me. So I won't tell her what to do, and I won't control her, and I'll just exercise a loving a loving attention, which is what love is, attention.
Yeah, I think a lot of people would love to have that. I mean, do you have children as well?
I have a son by my first marriage.
Oh, yeah. And are you close with him, or is he does he understand what the path that you went down?
No, his mother is a feminist and a communist, and a Zionist, so he's been influenced by her. Nonetheless, we have a fairly cordial relation. He's in his early 30s now.
Oh, wow. Yeah. So talk about the whole climate change agenda that they're implementing again
It's
now.
total bullshit. And this EV thing is total bullshit. I mean, everything they do is designed to destroy, just like the migrants. We don't need migrants, do we? I mean, whoever heard of putting these people on the payroll while our own citizens who pay taxes and fight in wars get less money and less consideration? It's obscene. What basically the communists, and I'm talking about all the governments of the West, Trudeau, Biden, Macron, the guy in London and the guy in Germany, they're all communists, and their aim is to destroy their respective societies, and they're big successes. I don't know if you've seen this, but on my site, on my Twitter feed, pinned to the top, is the logo of the 2020 Democratic National Convention. Have you seen it?
I don't think I looked at it.
Because somehow it doesn't show. But if you look up the logo of the 2020 Democratic National Convention, the logo is Star of Baphomet will destroy America. They're totally upfront, the Democrats. They're totally upfront. Their logo was destroy America, which is what the agenda of organized jewelry is, destroy America. And do I think Trump is going to save America? No. He'll just postpone.
Well, he was a supporter of Netanyahu as well.
Trump is a Kabbalist agent. He's a reality show actor. The reality show is politics. He could have been a great president if he weren't basically an agent of the Illuminati. I mean, he's got the smarts and the charisma. He could have been Abe Lincoln, but he's an Illuminati agent.
So do you think that he was put in that position to create splitting? I mean, the Hegelian dialectic, which is...
Yes, yes. And I've got an article on my site which shows he threw the election to Biden because these guys work in tandem. I call it the Judeo-Masonic tag team. He could have contested the election. I mean, whoever heard of the fact that the Supreme Court, which contained 4 of his nominees, did not challenge the election when it's obvious that Biden didn't win? I mean, he couldn't get 50 people out to a rally. I mean, he even said, I've got the best voter fraud organization in the world. I mean, what's happened to to justice in the United States when an election can be stolen brazenly as it was in 2020. But, it's
But
all a
all
show.
elections are rigged, right?
Well, I don't know for a fact, but I wouldn't be surprised.
So do you think Trump has a chance again in 2024?
Well, it's very interesting. It's very interesting because I think there's liable to be some world developments between now and November. That's still another 8 months away. May, June, July, August, September, October, 7 months away. And I don't want to speculate. I mean, they're setting him up as the savior. He's America's hope, and I think he will.
But they did that the last time as well, and it did divide the truth movement as too, which is a very was a great strategy if they wanted to use that, right? Because a lot
The
of people in the
person.
truth movement thought he was doing good things, and now everything's going to change. In 2 weeks, he's going to
I
take the
mean,
whole
have
thing
people
down.
forgotten that Trump is responsible for the?
The thing.
I mean, what's wrong with people? I would much rather vote if I were an American. I wouldn't be surprised if Robert Kennedy Jr. actually came up the middle and won. And frankly, he would be the best choice because he fought.
The thing.
I don't know why he chose the vice presidential candidate he did, but he's superior to. I mean, she should never have been his VP. I mean, he should have chosen someone like Tulsi Gabbard, who has a record of public service, right? But in any case, I would prefer. I think Kennedy is our best hope. He's the man with most integrity. I wouldn't trust Trump with my son's toy wagon. I wouldn't trust him. Period. He's a total gonif. That's a Jewish word for thief. Gonif. He's been a gonif all his life. I mean, Colonel House said Americans are inveterate hero worshippers. He said that in 1920 in the House report. They've been messing with the United States for over 100 years, for 200 years, and Americans have been like they're being frog marched into tyranny and resisting the best they can, dragging their feet.
But didn't they want to do this whole implementation of the New World Order in one way or the other since 1776 when they created the Illuminati and America was founded as well?
Yeah, America was actually founded in order to bring in the New World Order, and I have an article on my site to that effect. None of this is going to go down as long as the internet is free. There's no way they can bring any of this in. War, Agenda 2030, climate change, none of it will come in as long as the internet is relatively free, which would mean as free as it is now and not less free. Because if people can communicate worldwide instantaneously with opinions and information, there's no way they're going to bring this in. So I'm very, very optimistic. But we cannot comply. We have to resist.
That's a good message. But do you have like a more personal, positive message for viewers watching you here and maybe are pleased to see you because they haven't seen so much of you for a while, face to face, I mean?
Well, I really believe that God is perfection, and I really believe that we are all capable of experiencing this perfection. And I believe that life is is a miracle. Human life is a miracle and an incredible gift, endlessly fascinating. And we get to share it with all kinds of interesting and attractive people like yourself. And life is great. It really is. And frankly, the Satanists are doing us a huge favor because they're forcing us to confront reality, which we had no clue about. They had us totally deceived. And so this is a huge blessing in disguise. I think it'll ultimately could lead to the end of the central banking cartel when people realize how pernicious letting Satanists control our credit cards is. So I believe that what is happening was destined to happen. I think they made a huge mistake taking their mask off because now they're naked. And as long as communication is free, I think things can only get better as long as we're not all destroyed in a nuclear war.
So there is hope, actually, you think, Henry?
Yeah, I'm very hopeful. And but it's largely because of the internet. The internet is magic. I can't believe it's a miracle. It's magic. I don't know how they do it. I never thought I'd live long enough but I love the internet.
There is certainly a lot of censorship, and just in our remaining moments, do you think that AI will take over so that everything will be censored and we cannot find head or tails? I mean, we don't know what's true, who is real, what we're watching.
No, I think AI will be put back in the box, and it'll be regulated because people won't tolerate being messed with on a permanent basis.
We have a lot we could talk about maybe at another point. It would be great to see you back here, but if people want to research you more and go to your website, please mention that. And also, if they can purchase your books, how can they do that?
It's henrymakow.com, MAKOW, and my books are advertised on my website. And my books are basically collections that I've organized of my articles, and the books are all available on Amazon.
Great. Well, it's been absolutely amazing, and it's been great to do this show with you and have you on Age of Truth TV. Finally, Henry MAKOW, you are a tough and controversial, but also fascinating man, and I want to thank you very much for being on with us today.
Well, thank you. And my method is think for yourself and do your own observation and connect the dots yourself. Don't let other people interpret the world for you.
Very true. So thank you so much. I really, really enjoyed it. It's been wonderful.
Well, thanks, and I'll be happy to come on again in a couple of months.
Absolutely. Let's do that. I'm looking forward to that. And have a wonderful day in Mexico City.
Okay, thank you very much, and same to you in Copenhagen.
Thank you so much to Henry MAKOW, and thanks to all of you for watching Age of Truth TV. You can support us by clicking onto our website, ageoftruth.tv. And please like our videos, subscribe to our channel, and hit the bell for notifications. You can sign up for our newsletter on our website, ageoftruth.tv as well. Please also subscribe to our alternative channels on BitChute and Brighteon. Your support is greatly appreciated and very needed. And on behalf of the Age of Truth TV team, we thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you again soon.